Hello, everybody. Okay, so this is take like 80 because if it's not one thing, it's another. So welcome to our walkthrough of a synchronous learning day. So on the Google Classroom, I asked you all which method you preferred for online instruction, whether it be recording directly to YouTube or using Google Meet. And those of you that did vote, the majority said that they would prefer to stick with Google Meet and share it afterwards if they need to. So that is what we are going to do. So the first thing that you are going to need to do is go to your Google Classroom. I'm setting up the external webcam. Really briefly, what that was is a Logitech external webcam, a tripod, and an extender cable. I use a 3-foot extender cable so that I can have my webcam positioned a little bit further from my laptop so that I can get all of my whiteboard in. So that is ideally what I will use for all of your setups as well. So back to online synchronous learning. So we're going to go to Google Classroom, and during my classroom tutorial, I highly recommended that you all use the Meet link up at the top to have students join your classroom meets. Again, I'll reiterate that because it is really the simplest version for students as well as parents. So for all tutorials or walkthroughs from this point on, that is the only way that I will be getting to Google Meet is through Google Classroom. So I'm going to click this. And when it first opens up, if you have not hooked up one of these Logitech external webcams to your laptop before, this window will more than likely be your front-facing webcam that is built into your laptop. I will show you now how to change that. So we're going to click Join. We are going to come down to these 3 dots in the bottom right-hand corner. And then I'm going to come to Settings. And a window will pop up asking for audio settings and video settings. Audio is going to be my microphone input and my speaker output. For the purposes of this, I'm not going to touch those because I don't need to. Video is where I want to be. This allows me to change my webcam. So under Camera, I'm going to click this down arrow, and here are all of my viable webcam options. The HP one is my built-in webcam, and the Logitech, like I've said, is the external webcam. So I'm going to click that. Now, the send and receive resolution below, I generally do not touch. However, because I have a certain level of expectation for my digital learners to be able to follow along, I want to make sure that the resolution of the video I am sending to them is at the highest possible quality, which through Google Meet happens to be 720p. So whenever I start a live feed or a recording, and if I like the 720p quality, I have to manually come in and change this every single time. The camera will more than likely stay at your last used webcam, but this one will always revert back to that 360p. Okay, so I have my camera set, I have my quality set. Now I need to actually hit the record button so that students can reference this later. So I'm going to hit my 3 buttons down, or my 3 dots down in the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to come to record meeting. It'll ask if you have consent to record the participants of the meeting. I am hoping to add into the AUP a small snippet letting parents know that this could be a day-to-day tool that teachers use, and have them sign off on consent for this as well. If that is something that I am able to do and get done, I will give you all a list of students who have parental consent for being recorded. I'm going to click accept because my hypothetical class in this instance all have parental allowance, like I asked them just now. Okay, now if you come here, you'll notice this is grayed out. Now it's red, means we're recording. Once you hit record, you don't want to just start talking because it sometimes can take a couple of seconds. So if you happen to have a student that is not allowed to be recorded, my suggestion is to change the layout of your display. What I mean by that is if we come to these three dots and come to change layout, we can have a spotlight, which means our display will take up the entirety of the main screen if we've pinned our display to be that default option. But I know that's not always going to be an option. For example, if we end up having the majority of students on distance learning, you'll want to be able to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're following along and actively participating. In which case, I know you'll have to have students visible to some extent. So we will cross that bridge when we get there. So now that I'm recording, the next biggest step to remember is to unmute yourself or make sure you are not muted. I have recorded this tutorial probably 4 or 5 times. For various reasons, I have messed up. And the last time I got all the way through and went to go edit it and realized that I had the microphone muted, so I have to redo it all over again. Yes, Mr. Houston, I know I could have talked over the video clip during editing, but I have no idea what I said. So I'm not capable of being that on the ball. So we have our live stream going. We're recording it for future use. The next thing that I will let you know is probably up there on the importance scale is making sure that you have shared every piece of material that you are going to have students access before class starts. What I mean by that is if you have text that you want them to read, or if you have a document you want them to edit, or an interactive activity you want them to go to, you will want to share those in a Google Classroom post before class starts. That way, your distance learners aren't missing out and having to wait for that material to be given to them in the moment. So for this example, I've already gone ahead in Google Classroom and I've shared a mock assignment with all of the material I want my imaginary class to look at for a day. So I'm going to end up navigating over to Google Classroom, but the first thing you're going to notice is when I click there, my Google Meet display is gone. I can no longer see if I have them, students, on my Google Meet. If that's something that you worry about and becomes a problem for you, or you know it will be a problem for you, you can let me know, and what we can do is we can set you up with a secondary monitor so that on monitor 1, you have your Google Meet display that shows all of your students as well as your webcam. And then on monitor 2, it can have your instructional material that you've displayed up on the whiteboard with your projector. So with that out of the way, we're going to pretend we are in class. So I've gone ahead and I've shared our mock assignment. So at this point, enjoy my acting skills. For those of you that have these interactive boards, which I think all of you do with the exception of Liz and Michelle and Jessie, this is going to be really fun and kind of interactive, and it still works for our distance learners in this regard. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of cool. So we've gone ahead, I have our assignment, and I have to come over here and pretend to be able to reach that. Okay, students, so I want you to go to your Google Classroom and I want you to open your planners for today so that we can take a look at what we are going to be working on this week. Okay, so as it loads, I'm going to come over to present mode so that I can interact with the planner. And this is something that I plan on having one copy of and allowing students access to view. That way, if there are important dates that they need to know, I can update it as the year goes on and they can just click right to a month. Oh gosh. Guys, I'm not quite tall enough. Okay. I'll just have to click through it. So like if they wanted to see important dates for the month of August, they could click the August tab and they could go ahead and see, you know, the 27th is when we're docked to come back. 24th, I think, are our staff days. I'm not sure. But they could just see all of our important dates right there. They could also see to-do lists for class. So I want to make sure maybe at the beginning of each week that students go ahead and look at the upcoming week. So for instance, I might have on Monday, Unit 1 for TEALS. Thursday, we might have a Unit 1 review. And on Friday, maybe a Unit 1 quiz. If they want to see specifically what we're doing today, I would have, you know, further details on the Today tab that they could maybe click on to get to through hyperlinks. So, okay, everybody's seated and situated. The first portion of class has kind of gotten underway. So now I want you all to go and open up the Jamboard that I shared with you in classroom called Walkthrough. So there it is right there. Jamboard is a tool that I've talked about in a couple of my tutorials. One of those tutorials I have not on and uploaded yet, so I can't use it too much as an example. But what it is it is an interactive whiteboard tool. And the thing that's really neat about this when it comes to distance learning is it allows your students who are learning digitally to have that same level of interaction with you and the students who are in the classroom that they would if they were in the classroom. So on Google Classroom, I have shared this one Jamboard and given all the students the ability to edit this one Jamboard. So I'm going to use this as an example for math. So let's say we are on problem 2 from the textbook. And it is, what is 3 times, sometimes you have to write a little slow with the interactive pins, times 15. So let's say we're working on math using lattice. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to painstakingly draw out my lattices. Not only are the students that are in class getting to see this, but Billy, who is at home learning digitally, is seeing this in real-time edit as well. So he's watching these marks appear on his Chromebook at home if he has it open and he has an internet connection. So I might go through here, and let's say for problem 1, I asked Susie in class to complete it. She did great. We're moving on to problem number 2. Billy has his textbook in front of him. We've gone over the instruction, and I say, hey, Billy, I want you from home to use a blue marker, show us your work, and give us the answer. So Billy, with either a mouse or the touchpad on his Chromebook, would look at this. He'd come over and change the marker to blue, and he might be able to walk through this perfectly and tell us that this equals 45. And just like with the interactive pin, there's a little bit of a lag, but we would get to see Billy's answer in real time as if he was sitting in the classroom. Now, when it comes to Jamboards, one thing I would recommend is leaving the work. What I mean by that is, let's say Billy completed this correctly, he showed all of his work, and we did 5 more. I would leave all of it and just create a new page up at the top. That way, our distance learners or someone who might have missed the lesson can go back, they can watch the video, and they can follow along with this in front of them on their screen. And the reason that's important is because, again, even though I have this up here and I am recording the instruction, I cannot expect our digital learners to be able to read and follow 100% through the webcam. It's just not always something that I can bank on being a consistent, clear image. So having the Jamboard saved for them to reference along with the video is great. So we've done our math for the day, we've done our collaboration. Now I want everybody to move on to their TEALS notebook. And the way that I have this set up is it has the instruction saved in a file that they have the ability to edit as the lessons go on. So this first step, I have to wait for present mode to happen because I can't reach the button. I know I cannot. So we're going to move on to Unit 1 of TEALS. So I have a video embedded in Lesson 1. This is a video that comes with the online textbook and that we are expected to show the students in class. And that's great and fine and dandy, and I will show it to the kids that are in the classroom. But once again, Billy will not have the same quality if I just expect him to watch through the webcam. So because I've embedded it in a Google slide, Billy can watch it through this Google slide on his own device. All he has to do, hit play, that is hit play, and make sure it's unmuted. I'm going to keep it muted because otherwise I'll have squabbling audio input. He'll get to watch all of it. There's an outline here that he can follow. And because this is an entirely interactive slideshow, Billy can come in and go, he can go, okay, there's a text vocabulary word that I want to write down so that I don't forget it because I feel like it's important. He could go to the vocabulary tab, which I don't have set up at the moment, and he could type in his vocabulary word and the definition for it for future reference. Then he can come back to Unit 1, keep watching the video, and then he goes, oh, there's a concept that I want to remember. Maybe it is, you know, how the IDE works, a certain element of that. He can go to his notes, he can type that up, then come back here. That way he has his instruction, he has any videos that the class will watch in person, but he still has the ability to create his notes that he might have generally written down in a physical notebook and given to me. So then once we're done with that video, we would just click somewhere and move on to the next one. So when we are done recording our class, we have to make sure that in our Google Meet, we hit these 3 dots and we physically hit stop recording. This lets us know that we are confirming that we're ending the recording, and then it'll tell us that it is being saved to Google Drive. At which point, we can end the Google Meet, or if you are having in-class working time, you could leave it going just so those students who are digitally learning don't get left out of the interaction of it or the ability to ask you questions. So my instruction has recorded and it saved itself to my Google Drive. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to our Classroom tab on Google Classroom, and I'm actually going to create a new topic that is Synchronous Learning videos. That way all of those are in the same area, and I'm actually going to put them down here. So to upload that, I'm going to click Create, and I'm going to upload it as material. So we are going to put today's date, August 4th, 2020, and I might put the topic, actually no, I'm going to put that down in the description. Okay, we covered. Now we're going to add. We're going to do Google Drive. So it should be under Recent. there it is. So I'm going to click that, click insert, and it has inserted it. I have it in my topic for my synchronous videos, and now I'm going to post it. So now if we hop over to the student side, we can see new material posted August 4th. It has today we covered Jamboard, walkthrough, and there's the video. They can click it. And that is, in a nutshell, how you would do synchronous learning. And like I said, if you guys have anything else that you want to have covered, let me know.